Hmm. Hey there, YouTube. How you guys doing out there on the internet? So, this is Studio here. I can't resist. Hey, folks. It's Studio here. And today we're going to be looking at AP Twisted Fate in the mid lane. Now, before you think about what Twisted Fate does, I want you to think about what every AP does. Because we all have this mindset of what every AP champion should do. Now, I'm just going to give you my mindset. This is just something that I will have in the back of my brain every time I see an AP mid anywhere. They should be going mid, of course. They should be trying to do one of three different things. They should be trying to farm up like crazy, they should be trying to kill their opponent, or they should be trying to gank other lanes, or some combination thereof. For example, if you're trying to kill your lane opponent, you should still be farming up like crazy, because, well, what if you don't get the kill? You still want to be ahead in CS because you applied this pressure. You don't want to fall behind. So someone like LeBlanc, for example, people have a lot of trouble with her, playing as her actually, because they don't CS with her. They just go for those kills mid. And those kills are good and all. Kills are awesome. I love kills. But you need to have that foundation of creep gold to carry you to the next level. So, yeah, you can get one kill, but if you're behind 40 CS because you don't know how to last hit with that weird wand thing, that's going to hurt you. Now, here's the thing. Twisted Fate isn't a normal mid. His laning sucks. He is a bad laner. He is not good in lane against most mids. So it's hard to put Twisted Fate in a lane in mid and expect him to do well. So he can farm decently with wild cards, but he has to be at very far range, and he has to get enough AP to start wiping out those range minions really quickly, or he has to, use a red card in conjunction with wild cards. Like, he has to do something to make it safe. He can gank other lanes really well, but it's much more expected. And it's kind of weird to say that. Like, if Morgana goes from mid to bot and you don't expect it, she's much more likely to get a kill. If Twisted Fate leaves mid, a good team will react appropriately and just try to retreat. So in one way, you can get kills very easily if the enemy team doesn't expect it. If they are trying to play defensively, if they are watching you, Twisted Fate can get caught going to a different lane. This happens sometimes, and it's really funny when it does. So you can get caught. The other team can just react appropriately, retreat to their tower, and, sometimes by the time Twisted Fate gets to a fight, it won't be enough. He can just die. So you have to set up your ganks. They're not harder to set up, but you have to have that mindset. You have to realize, okay, I'm going to be ganking for Twisted Fate. I need to be able to either gain vision and deny them warding for a decent part of the map, or I have to go ahead and have some sort of CC, some sort of just way to stop them from getting away from me, just so Twisted Fate can get TP in. They won't flash away, stuff like that. So, for example, Warwick is a great top to gank for his Twisted Fate, because once you ult, and if he ults him, that's enough time for you to show up, just chain stuns together, and wreck someone. So wreck a dude. So Twisted Fate is much better at ganking, but he doesn't have any sort of mid presence. And that's important to remember. You have to fight for that mid presence. You have to use an aggressive jungler with Twisted Fate. This actually fits him quite well, though, because with an aggressive jungler, guess what? You have better ganks. So if you have better ganks coming in, you can supplement your ganks well. So a Twisted Fate focused team won't be focused necessarily on team fights. The idea is you want to split push and you want to win your lanes like that. So let's jump into this replay. We will be looking at Kenikth. Make sure I'm pronouncing that. Yeah, Kenikth. That is an odd name to pronounce. Let's see if you can see me in the background. That is my Twitter. I just found out I had a YouTube watch later playlist, and it was awesome because it was just this random video called Dog. And this is CLG Black against Ordiance Gaming for the IPL 5 qualifiers. I was actually just kind of randomly specking through friends, just kind of watching games, and I saw this lineup. I'm like, okay, I recognize CLG Black, that's their entire lineup, but who is this other team? Who is these guys? This is Ordiance Gaming, and it actually has a few remnants of some of the older teams. So, for example, Orbiota used to be on Orb, which used to be, I believe, Link and Hoodstomp's team. But we're going to be watching this through the perspective of Kenikth, so we're going to lose a lot of that vision from the enemy team. Now, level 1, I love level 1. Twisted Fate's actually great at level 1 because he has Pick a Card. So he has a 1-second stun on a 6-second cooldown, 5.4 actually, because he does have some CDR for masteries. So if they do get into a fight, they're in a really good position. They have that level 1 CC, and that CC might be enough to, land axes, land a Jarvan flag, land some follow-up. Now the enemy team does have Alistar, so we're not going to see a coordinated effort here to actually engage into a team fight. They don't want to walk into a bush, because if they walk into the wrong bush, they're dead. So they camp here, they have a ward right here, and if an invasion comes out, which they do expect because of the Alistar, well, they'll be caught. However, if red buff gets stolen or they just play safely, they're not really accomplishing anything here. They're not stopping the enemy carries from doing golems. They're not, doing their wolves. They are watching Olaf do his fabulous, fabulous dance. So, go Olaf, go. Now, let's talk about item builds. And this is something kind of cool. What are Twisted Fate's items? He has 2 health potions and a vision ward. Now let's do some math. Actually, yeah. I'm trying to think about it. Yes, okay. So he does not have normal masteries. He's actually running utility, which explains his 10% cooldown reduction. It's actually kind of unique. I did not know that, actually. So he's running with a defensive build. The reason he has this ward here is because he doesn't want to die. And that might sound really obvious. Like, of course you don't want to die. Why would you want to die? They have an Alistar in the jungle. You have to play super cautiously. TF doesn't have any escapes. His only escape is going to be a gold card to stop a stun. The problem is if we see a flash come out from Zuna, if we see something really aggressive come out from Zuna, TF is boned. So he's going to play defensively. He puts down a ward here just because he expects a gank coming in at some point from the red buff. He knows right now the big threat is going to be coming in from this side of the jungle, and here we see Zuna. So this is a lot of information given right here. What did happen though is we did have Yoda get spotted going into the jungle, and they have to get him out of there. What does Kenikth do? He shows up with a gold card just trying to zone them out. I like that. So really quickly, from the vision of CLG Black, they had a ward down. And that should give some hint that there is some vision in the enemy jungle. The other hints would be that there is a ward missing from Sono, but they know that ward's there. They know Jarvan cannot invade anymore, and that flash being blown is a big deal because Jarvan's ganks just got a lot weaker. Now, I talked into that. Let's look at that again. And I like this from Kenikth. I actually like this from Zuna too. So we have Alistar. He's about to come in from over here. And he wants to get CC Kenikth in a position where Link can follow up appropriately, and Kenikth can't just flash back to the tower. So he flashes in here and he just knocks him back over here. And unfortunately, Kenikth leaves that stun a little too soon and gets that flash off and just retreats appropriately. So it was actually well played from both characters. That could have been a head stomp, pulverized combo from Alistar, but Kenikth was so far back he would have just immediately flashed out of there, immediately been out of range of really any sort of follow-up. So that was a good play from Alistar, but it's also Kenikth playing well himself, and you'll notice he's staying really pushed in. He's not pushing out at all. He's using red card every now and then, but he's trying just to get experience, trying just to get some farm, not necessarily do well and win the lane, but just be in a position to get something and not die. And that's the big scary thing about Twisted Fate. You're so easy to kill. Anivia is not a mid that can kill a Twisted Fate at level 1 necessarily, but once you hit level 6 on Anivia, I mean, TF can't do anything. He can stun, but if you get the wall, if you get nuke off, you're going to lose every trade. And that gold card right there, that's actually a good example of just trying to do something defensive. You never want to approach TF when he has gold card up. That's just what you feel. It's not a huge deal right now. Link could get comboed. He doesn't really want to, because that's all he can do in response, just to throw out an ice ball. So in terms of the threat, Kenikth knows that if he has that gold card up, he's not going to get approached. And you can use this kind of as a mind game. If you have a gold card, nobody wants to be near you. Just make sure that if they do try and approach you defensively, you have some sort of escape option. But it seems that Link has caught on. He's not going to use that gold card defensively. He knows he'll lose any trade. If he lands anything, the damage is just in Anivia's favor. And that's the thing important to remember about Twisted Fate. He's dependent on his auto attack to land a gold card. And his auto attack range with Picard, I think it's a little farther actually than it normally is. But still, the issue is there. You stop, you auto attack, you are doing an animation. And during that animation, you are predictable, you are stuck in place. His main goal though, he stayed defensive. We see Zuna coming up here. Immediately Kenikth just gets a little farther back, just stays in this area. He just cannot push out, and it's good for him what he's doing right now. He's doing really well in CSing actually, constantly keeping his cards up just so he can CS well. And something important to note, look at the gold difference. There's a 200 gold lead right now for Ordiance Gaming. And this is something Twisted Fate provides that you really don't think about at first. His passive is 2 gold for every kill. So minions, heroes, anything will get you an extra 2 gold. Now, obviously, in champion kills and turret kills, that number is not going to be very big. You might be an extra, I don't know, 100 gold throughout the course of the game across your entire team. That's not a lot. That's actually an overestimate. But, think about it this way. All that CS is an extra 2 gold. So this isn't a 2 CS difference. This is about the same CS. Actually, TF's a little farther ahead because of the 2 gold he's getting. And this goes across the team. So what looks like it could be equal is actually a little in favor of Twisted Fate's team. And it's important to remember that. And someone like Ashe over here, who has a point in her hawkshot, is getting 3 gold per last hit, extra. Now, that's not going to be a huge game changer. If you're far behind and you're losing your game, and like you're just getting killed nonstop, obviously getting an extra 500 gold throughout the first 20 minutes of the game isn't going to be that big. But looking at this game, looking how equal it is actually, there is no big CS difference. It's 42 on Twisted Fate, 37 on Anivia. That's a small difference. And because of that, well, that lead is growing. It's growing very steadily. And so that's something I like about Twisted Fate. It's weird, but like I said before, people want to play defensively. People want to play passively. And if you do get stuck into a farm game, guess what? Your team's going to have a very slight 1-up. And those slight 1-ups can be huge. And I left my League of Legends client on. Oops. Sorry about that little sound. I will just be pausing that really quickly. I'm sorry, Texter. You must die. Okay. Back to the game. So, what is Kenikth's plan right now? He's level 6. He's going to wait for either a situation where he can gank bot lane, or a situation where he can gank top lane. Now, top lane's tricky for him to gank. Kennen has Flash and Lightning Rush. So, when he puts down that ultimate, there's going to be that 1.5 second channeling time, and during that channeling time, Kennen can flash, Kennen can use his E to get away. He's in a position to escape. He can try and set something up with Olaf where, you know, Kennen get him to blow his E and I will kill him, but just think about this. These are 5. These are 2 good teams who are communicating. If Olaf blows Kennen's E, Kennen's not going to come out until it's back up again. If they see Twisted Fate missing in mid lane, Kennen is not going to blow his E unless he's in super danger. And if he's in that much danger, TF is almost not needed. So, the obvious solution may seem strong, but the enemy team knows that solution too. If the idea is, we'll just get them to blow their escapes, and they see you missing, guess what? They know that they can't blow their escapes unless they're already unless they're going to be in a safe position from you too. So Twisted Fate, he can go up there, he can teleport, he can try and kill Kennen when his E is down, but Kennen's not going to let his E go down unless he knows Twisted Fate isn't there. And that's actually something you see across the game. You see this in high elo games actually, you see this in tournament play all the time, where there will be a gank and there will be a counter gank. And the reason that counter gank is there is because, like, let's say you have a bad matchup top and you gank to help that matchup, the other team knows it's a bad matchup too. And they know that you want to gank it, they can counter gank it, and counter ganks tend to be a little more successful. Because you can choose your target, you can kind of catch them off guard. Generally when you gank, the other team doesn't expect a counter gank. So, putting that out there. It actually goes on layers, because if they know you want to counter gank, they can always not gank. Anyhow, long diatribe, and let's just kind of watch this game. So Kenikth, what has he done? We've been watching this guy for a while. Has he done anything? Not really, no. He's farming. He's 5 CS behind Anivia, but this doesn't matter. The situation is not presenting itself to go for a kill. And something Hotshot GG has said, something that major teams do, is they wait until the perfect situation to get into a fight. Now, Ashe is level 7. Ashe has that ganking potential now. They do see Anivia there. They know there's a ward right here. And the idea is there. You wait until you're in a favorable situation. So what favorable situation is going to be made for Kenikth? Well, he saw that ward get placed there, so he should avoid that area if he goes for a gank. And looking at the range of his ultimate, which I actually cannot do, it's going to be going for some weird route down bottom. Top is going well. They already got the kill there. They don't need it. So the gank starts. He follows through. And this is a team effort. This is something that you need communication from. You can do this in solo queue. You can set up ganks like this in solo queue, but this is an awesome game. So we saw TF going towards that gank. The ultimate from Ashe lands. Sona has to ult, can't do anything, and just gets melted. I want you to see how much time Kenikth spends out of the vision of Anivia. Now, I know I'm abusing the rewind feature, but okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, he's back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He actually gets spotted by the or there 8, 9. But by the time he gets spotted, they're in a bad position. So that's how quick Twisted Fate moves. That's how quick Twisted Fate can move. That's how quickly you have to move on Twisted Fate. Had there been another couple seconds of warning, you might have actually seen Sona get close enough to the tower where Twisted Fate diving would have been suicide. Had he got ulted under a tower by Sona, he would have died. And that's kind of how it works. That's kind of like the theory behind Twisted Fate. It's not necessarily that it's not that you're good at going to ganks, it's that you can go ahead and make it so there is no possible reaction time. So you have to kind of go with this idea. And this is an interesting fight. Just some flashes being blown. Yoda super low on HP has to back up, but because Dragon's already been taken, the advantage is now for Ordinance Gaming. And looking at the gold difference, that's 2,000 gold. What was once, just 800 is now 2,000 once they pick up the first blood, even though that was a trade, the dragon, and that kill. So they're growing their lead. At mid lane, we see a big CS discrepancy, actually. 13, 15 CS now. As Anivia picks up Wraiths when we can't see it, but still shows up in spectator mode. So I hope you're getting this idea with TF. He waits for that situation. He's going for a kill. He's not going for an attempt at a gank. He's not going for being there. He's going for a kill. And he's waiting until that perfect moment to set it up. And you do that by being very quick about your action, by not giving the enemy time to respond. And something I see a lot of Twisted Fates do is they'll walk over here. They'll be in this area, like imagine it's not warded, and they're just waiting for something to happen bottom. And there's so much time in the world, like 3 seconds. If you wait an extra 3 seconds, that is a chance for the enemy to retreat, for the enemy to do something. Now, mid lane, what is Kenikth doing now that he's back in lane? He's doing nothing. Weird to say that. Why is he doing nothing? Well, he's just farming because Anivia can kick his ass. What the hell is he going to do to Anivia? If he lands a stun Q combination and then backs up, that's great. If the wall goes down, if the ultimate and E combo hits him from Anivia, he will just take a lot more damage in response. Now, we have a fight going down here. What is Kenikth doing? He's going towards a fight. He has no mana. He can't really do much. He does use his ultimate, actually. But, the fight, is it going well? No. I just want to rewind this. We'll see the ultimate come down. This entirely uses a scare tactic. So, it's down. He's trying to get in range. Can he do anything? He can stun Zuna, but we have Hood Stomp and Bloodwater right here. No. He could have gotten one CC off. He might have gotten countered in the response. It would have been risky. It would have been dangerous. It would have been a maybe situation. And the kill already went down on Spellsy. Spellsy was super dead. Spellsy, rest in peace, was not going to survive. So him going down there and not engaging is kind of just the mentality that I like seeing. The safe option. Now it's weird to say play safe. You don't actually want to just play strictly safe. But Twisted Fate is someone who's much better at choosing his fights. It does suck that he uses ultimate and he did leave mid. And mid tower did go down. That's actually a pretty big deal. That's an extra 750 gold. The gold difference is not only 400, but one of those is in towers. And there's actually a pretty good debate. What matters more, towers or dragon? Dragon is worth a little more gold. Towers, they're towers. They give you map control. They give you map presence. They give you vision. And imagine if Link pushes up the lane, pushes up to right here, for example. So the vision stops right here. He can all of a sudden just enter this part of the jungle, gank bot lane. Actually, on that note, this is something I actually like from Kenikth. It's a little gank bot lane. I'm gonna rewind it just because I want you to see it from full action, or from the vision of CLG Black. They see Kenikth, they don't have time to respond. The ultimate actually does hit him. The animation's kind of weird. He just kind of dies. And that's actually a good response from CLG Black. They don't blow flash. They would have wasted it had it happened. The auto tag was already in air. Once the Valkyrie started, it would have been air when the flash started. So it was a good idea. There's a gank happening to Hop. I mean, it happens. Yoda dies in the exchange. Pretty bad for them, actually. Yoda not doing particularly well this game. Jarvan's actually based off his ganks. We have Kenikth actually trying to come here and support, but he's not going to ultimate in there. What's he going to do when he shows up? There's a Brax with no mana, there's Zuna, Psycho Sid, and Link all together, all grouped up. What does he do? He just farms in response. This is the important thing about just any character in general. You have to choose your fights appropriately. TF's really good at that, but this applies to everybody. If you're not going to do anything in a fight, if you're not going to be able to just be there and be active, why are you going to show up to a fight? Okay, you land a stun on Anivia. Anivia backs off. Oops, I adjusted the camera. Okay. And so what can you do? And this is an example of a fight you can win. So, once again, the vision of CLG Black is important. So they have no vision here. We see Twisted Fate right here. And Kenikth does this a lot. He just backs out of the vision, he backs in, he comes in and out. And this is something that's really cool about it, because all of a sudden, they don't know where he is. He just pops in and out really quickly, and he just comes out of nowhere like this. So we have the ghost come out from Kenikth to catch up, and they both summoners to kill Psycho Sid, and it's worth it. It's a good kill. It's a good job. Good job, Ordiance Gaming. You did it. You killed Kenan. Alright. But I hope you're getting kind of this mentality. And actually, I'm going to pause this game. I want to go back to the studio cam. Okay. So what am I saying? What does this all build up to? We have Twisted Fate. How is he playing? He's playing safely. He's choosing his fights, and he's trying to more or less keep himself deceived, keep himself as an illusion. Where am I? Am I in the mid lane? Am I in the bot lane? Every time I CS, I'm just going to back up and stay in the fog of war for as long as I can. Sometimes I might have to hang out in the mid lane because, you know, I got to get that CS. Sometimes I might walk by a ward, but for the most part, I want you to never know where I am. This is a strategy that you can actually kind of apply to stealth characters. The problem is when a stealth leaves, it's, you know, easier to detect them because of vision wards, and frankly, you always expect the stealth character, once he's gone for more than 5 seconds, to be in a different lane. But Twisted Fate is different. He has instant transportation. He just gets on the TF card bus and teleports somewhere. So when you see him gone for 5 seconds, that's always a potential gank. But the thing is, what Kenikth does is, he's always going in and out of fog of war, always coming in, always coming out. So these 5-second scary gank opportunities are happening so frequently, you have two options. Do you adjust? Do you just go ahead and get scared every time? Or do you sit there and just start becoming relaxed, start becoming, you know, not too scared? And honestly, the decision is tricky. Like, normally you want to be like, well, for the ones where he's going to gank, I want to be safe. For the ones where he's not going to gank, I want to be, you know, wherever. But you don't get that choice. You don't know where he's going to be all the time. So the way he plays, the idea is there, I'm just going to go in, go out, go in, go out, be in the shadows. And that constant fear builds up. And of course, look at him. He chooses his fights well. He goes in with Jarvan. He goes in with Olaf. He goes in with Flash and Ghost up, ready to chase down Kenan. Do you know how hard it is to chase down a Kenan? That dude is so fast. He is such a pain in the ass. I hate ganking Kenans because it is impossible. But he got that gank off. He just, you know, chased him down. Anyhow, back to the game. That was fun. And I need to get better at XSplit. I actually do not know that the hotkeys don't seem to work sometimes for me. I'm still learning the program. Actually, shout out to the XSplit guys. I was having some problems with my license, and they just fixed it right up because they are cool people. So shout out to XSplit. You guys have good support. Awesome. Back to this game. Back to what is going on here. So Kenikth, he got the gank top. He has blue buff. What's he going to do? He's just going to go back and farm mid. And there's a reason you don't see jungle Twisted Fate. There's a reason you don't see Twisted Fate in other lanes, because when he is here, let's say he's up top, he's not good in that lane in the first place, but you know he can only gank in this area, you know, the jungles, maybe go mid. If he's here in the mid lane, he can gank all around here, all that big old area, all that big camera motion sickness area. Now, a fight comes down here, and these fights are actually really scary, because you know what Twisted Fate is terrible at? Team fighting. What does he provide? He provides a stun, he provides a little bit, but not a lot. He's got some things going for him, not everything. So So what's he going to do? He wants to poke down. He wants to almost treat this like a CS wave. Like when he's CSing, he's going to be going, staying far back, staying out of Anivia wall range, and just spamming wall cards like crazy. And, I mean, Spellsy gets caught out, there's not much they can do. They do actually get the egg on the Link, and they do blow up Zuna as a response. That was a mistake from Zuna. Getting 2 out of position, getting blown up by Olaf's true damage, and, I mean, I love Alistar, but his ultimate is not good against Olaf. So, they win this fight, they get these kills, the gold lead increases. But once again, TF not good in team fights. This is not going to be a game where you see Kenikth engaging team fights, starting them up because he wants to. You're going to see a game where Robert X Lee over here, who I didn't know played AD actually. I thought he played other roles. He's a really good player though. He's going to be starting fights with his era with that Ashe ultimate. And when they don't start fights with Ashe ultimate, they're not in a good position. So to think about it this way, look at the hard CC from the enemy team. We have Sona, her ultimate can start a fight. We have Zuna, ooh, sorry about that. We have Zuna on Alistar, his Q can start a fight. Psycho Sid on Kennen, his ultimate can start a fight. Link, his wall can start a fight with his Q. There is fight potential all across his team except on Hood Stomp. Hood Stomp, who cares? He'll poke you down before the fight starts. Now, back to Ordiance. Can't start a fight. Can kind of start a fight, but not that well. Can't start a fight. Can start a fight. And can't really start a fight well that either. I mean, like, what's he gonna do? Rent someone? That's all he does. And it worked last time, but they're not gonna let it work again. So the fight potential isn't there. They don't have the ability to engage hard into the enemy team. So they might maybe ahead 2,000 gold, but 2,000 gold isn't going to give them initiation. Jarvan Ultimate, I love Jarvan Ultimate, but when the enemy team has someone like Anivia who can actually abuse your wall and get you more out of position because of you've dove into the enemy team, you actually don't have that same initiation. Now, looking bot lane, what do we have? Just an awesome gank. Look at that, look at that. Diving onto the tower, Spellsy being a pro, tanking that turret. And once again, the vision of the enemy team. This is what matters a bit. This is what really matters actually. So we actually had Link and Zuna retreat right here. This is actually really unfortunate because they would have spotted Kenikth and actually maybe murdered him. But they have no idea he's coming. They just see Ashe. They actually look like they're in a good position. They have their ultimates up. They have a lot of ways to stop this gank. But they pretty much just do the old 1-2 punch. Kenikth CCs, Sona, Hood Stomp gets CC'd by the Ashe ult, and at that point, well, Hood Stomp can't react, and we have Bloodwater going down so quickly he can't react either. That's a cool gank. I'm going to retreat a lot because I want to show the vision of the enemy team. The vision matters so much. And this is just a team fight. This is kind of like the problem with this team. Zuna's there. They can't stop Zuna. That Ashe ultimate is down. The only reason they stop is because they're close to that tower, and they're kind of worried about Jarvan. But there is no reason to really, get scared by the enemy team. They can't stop the CC. They can stop one of the CCs with maybe Ashe ult, one with Twisted Fate. That's it, and that's not good. That's okay. If your best bet is to kind of stop someone's CC, you're not in a solid position for team fights. And that's actually the case of any Twisted Fate team. This guy, I love this guy, but he's not going to be a Morgana. He's not going to be an Anivia. So you have to play your team as if you don't have good initiation, as if you have to poke them down first. This is like Kog'Maw actually. This is more of an AP Kog'Maw style of play. He does have his hard CC, but it's only a single target, and I mean it puts him in close range. Someone like Xerath, for example, has a similar CC, does not have to get that close, can stay far away. Kog'Maw doesn't have that CC, but he gets that range. And the idea here is, Ziggs, for example, same thing. He has range. So Twisted Fate's in this odd position where he's got both. He's got CC, he's got range, but the CC doesn't have range. So you gotta poke it down. You can eventually engage hard, and I love it when Twisted Fate gets a good burst down on a carry with Lich Bane. Actually, let's talk about the summoners on Yoda. Ghost and Flash, why doesn't he have Ignite? Look at the fights he's been choosing. He's been going in for these hard initiates with Ashe ult, with just the support from his team, and he doesn't need Ignite. He doesn't need the extra damage. He needs that mobility. He needs to chase down that Kennen when he's ganking top. He needs to be able to escape an Alistar when he's being chased. He needs extra movement. Maybe CV, actually, if he didn't have his ultimate vision. It's like, have you ever seen a Lux run a flash CV or flash teleport? Same idea. TF doesn't need teleport, he doesn't need CV though. And that's why he needs Ghost, because right there, that can happen so often, where you just get run down. He blew Flash, they can do it again though, and Alistar's mobility boots give him quite a bit of move speed. But now, this is kind of a scary moment. We have, you know, Ordnance Gaming looking good, up 4K, which actually, if you watched MLG, is generally a death sentence for the enemy team. But right now, they don't have a good initiate. And this is a good teamfight team. Right there. What happened? Brax just got walled in. We had one ultimate being used by the enemy team. It was Alistar's. And for Brax, he had used his ultimate. Spellsy used his ultimate. Robert Exley used his ultimate. And Brax barely got out with flashing. So the enemy team can get into a fight just as well as they could about 20 seconds ago. And right now, Ordnance, they look like crap. Olaf had to, he's actually decent on HP. Soraka healed him up and he has a lot of lifesteal. But their ultimates are all down. So they're not in a good spot. And that's the problem with TF teams. Once you start falling behind, if the enemy can just force engagements, you're screwed. So how do you not get forced on? Well, lots of warding, playing very defensively, and assuming that when you don't have vision, the enemy team is going to kill you in whatever bush you're trying to walk into. Now, I actually like the split push. I like that they're just kind of avoiding the fight. They might lose mid in the exchange, though, and that's where it becomes kind of not worth it, because this mid tower is really important. Once again, you get a lot more map control with it up. You lose pretty much this section of the jungle, they just get free reign over. This section too, and you need your jungle. Well, if Anivia gets free blue buffs, she will just dominate you. But anyhow, back to the mentality of Ordnance. How are they going to start a fight? They're going to use Ashe ult. Now, we're going to see what happens. They do something very special with Ashe ult, but their entire gimmick is going to be picking someone off. TF trying not to use his ult, maybe just to catch someone off to the side. I like this ultimate here. It scares off all of CLG Black, but they don't get the dragon in time. They were just a little late on that. And trying to use your ultimate for vision, it's weird to do it, and it can be very scary sometimes, but when you do so, it keeps your team safe, keeps you safe. And Spellsy coming here with the Oracles, trying to clean up all the wards, because they need that. They need to get vision here, they need to be in a position where they can catch someone. But if they see one person from CLG Black not near the rest of the team, they just jump on a dude who walks into a bush because they can win a 4v5, but maybe not a 5v5. And this is kind of the same idea as before. What have I been saying about Kenikth and how he plays? He's playing cautiously, he's playing and trying to get into his own engagements. He wants to go into engagements that he will win. He wants to kill secure, if you will, to use the term KS. He's not here to try and get this hard, brutal fight where he might win. He wants to win just on his own already. And the important thing is going to be who gets hit by the Ashe ultimate. Right now there is no Quicksilver Sash for all of CLG, so it's got to land on preferably Corki. And maybe it would be an okay target too, possibly Kennen. This is actually AD Kennen, so Kennen needs to die quickly too. I actually kind of like the AD Kennen because there's already so much initiation on the rest of CLG Black. They have a lot of fight control, so all of a sudden that Kennen gets extra scary because he doesn't need to dive in, ever, because they have Alistar, because they have Sona and Anivia. So now you have a scary Yordle who you want to dive on, but you can't because of his ultimate. So here comes the Oracles from Spellsy, just the map control from the rest of the team. They're just trying to, be safe. This is the dance we see all the time. And this is a very scary dance. It can go to either side. Now there we go. Ashe ultimate goes out, lands on Hood Stomp. We actually have Kenikth use his ultimate to reveal the enemy team. And the fight starts, when it does not start well. Alistar headbutts back when they try and engage, and Yoda just gets caught out and dies. And then all of a sudden we just have this crazy follow-up, and this is kind of the problem with all of the team. What can Kenikth do? He does land his stun. They might kill Link, but he has to, just kind of disengage almost immediately. And he's the only one alive besides Soraka. Now, if you look at all of CLG Black, they're all low, except Bloodwater, but that doesn't matter. And what could Kenikth do? Nothing. That was a cool headbutt. I don't know if you saw it, but Alistair headbutted as the enemy team, or as Ordiance tried to initiate, and Yoda still tried to follow it up. So that was almost a great engagement, but Alistair actually disengaging. And I will say this, there's more disengagement on CLG Black than there is on Ordiance, which is actually funny because they also have more initiation, so if there's ever a fight they don't like, they can also get out of it still. And for CLG Black, do we have it yet? No, Corky finishes up his Phantom Dancer, so looking at the overall gold, they're ahead 900. And factor in the Twisted Fate passive, they're more or less even without it. So it's actually kind of scary. They had a sizable lead before, that lead has more or less closed, and the difference is once again 2 gold on every last hit. And you don't want that to be the difference. You want the difference to be, oh, we've killed them 10 times and had 1 billion gold. Not, well, if we had someone besides TF, we'd actually be perfectly equal. But that is a risk they put themselves in when they chose Twisted Fate. Okay, so we have all of CLG Black again. It's the same damn thing. It's the same dance. We see this all the time. How does it get resolved? Through sheer boredom. Eventually, one player will make a mistake. One player will make a misstep, like Yoda did, and there will be a Baron for the enemy team. There will be a significant enough advantage where they can start taking objectives. I mean, it was a 5-for-3, but had they pushed, all of a sudden wild cards would just be taking them down. I mean, like, stray wild cards, so if you will, wild cards. And we're going to have an Oracles come out on Spellsy. It's kind of the same thing. I actually find this to be one of the more boring engagements, but this is a really important thing to like understand. It's all about just catching one person really quickly and just winning a fight because of it. And this is how teams win games, through this dance, through this little just kind of tango. And Spellsy, oh, Spellsy no, Link's really good now! And, well, the fight doesn't start in their favor. They get a lot of poke off, but this is what the dance becomes. And the enemy team could go for Baron, but you know what? CLG Black is cautious. Once they see the enemy team showing up, because that ward didn't die, they're just going to go ahead and retreat. They don't want to actually get into a Baron fight. They want to get into a fight by Baron, but they don't want to be low because of Baron. And Zuna is low. There is some damage on the enemy team. But like, I hope after seeing MLG, or actually just seeing this, you can think of MLG games and think of how many just like little Baron dances they had that took place in this big ol' area right here, maybe even over here if purple side is dominant on the map. And the reason for that is getting into a fight is terrifying. You don't know who's going to win if they're like grouped up in the proper situation. So if they're in that situation, what do? Well, you just go ahead, you run around all scared because it's the safest option. And I do love aggression. I do love offensive plays. I love it, but I understand it. When there is something on the line here, and there is something on the line for this game, by the way. This is for the IPL5 qualifiers. I don't know if CLG Black's still in this. I don't know if they will actually lose this early in the tournament. So they might be out if they lose this game. So there are things on the line, and what are the enemy team going to do? Well, be scared. And this play makes sense. It's boring in a lot of ways, but it's tense. And it's scary, and it's an endurance thing. Anyways, back to this. So, once again, back to the dance. Gold is pretty much even. We just have both enemy teams in this area. I could keep circling around like that, and I keep finding the enemy team. I think this is the third Oracles on Spellsy. Spellsy, I will say, I do like his playstyle with that, where he just does not care about himself. Like, whatever, I'm behind. I love this engagement. Now, I don't know if you saw what happened, but Ken took a lot of damage from Baron. And right now we have, well, I'm just going to let this play out. I want to look through it again. Because that was a really cool engagement from the rest of Ordinance Gaming. And it's hard to actually explain. I'm going to put it in slow motion. Okay. So, vision for both teams. Right now we have Kenan. He's going to go in the pick to just try and poke right here. So Psycho Sid trying to do some damage. Kenikth actually lands some wild cards. And Psycho Sid accidentally auto-attacks Baron. So because of that, Baron starts auto-attacking, and now all of a sudden Psycho Sid's at half HP. He doesn't have Zonias. The engagement comes out, and here comes Kenikth from the side. And this is a cool position, because he can catch Psycho Sid, he can catch out Link. He does so. He catches out Link. Bloodwater barely dodges those cards. And with his ultimate, which he just used to reveal the enemy team, it's still up. He uses it and teleports here. So he's just staying in the back. He's just trying to finish people off. And with a blue card, actually, he takes out Footstop. Psycho Sid's on him now, but he blows that Flash. He has that mobility. He has Ghost on too now. And he just kind of kites. He does get stunned by Kennen, but it's as he kills Kennen. And then all of a sudden, that engagement, well, this is why teams play passively around Baron, because this happens all the time. And then actually, what happens after this, I love because it's really funny. I mean, we don't have a chase on Anivia. They see her over there, but Anivia is one of the worst characters in the game to chase, and she does have mana. So Link gets away, he gets back to base, we have towers being taken down, and they do not go for Baron. They do not have a Smite Up, because we did have a death on Yoda. They do not have B, the confidence to actually go in there and try and take Baron with Anivia nearby. So they play smart, they play safely, but they wouldn't engage, they're up gold again. They blew the Oracles on Zuna. That was just a cool engagement. It's one misstep. And I'm not going to say Psycho Sid is a bad player. I'm going to say Psycho Sid made a mistake. But more importantly, Psycho Sid made a mistake that enemy team spotted. And that's what makes the difference in these games. Does the enemy know you're screwing up? Does the enemy see you making that mistake? Can the enemy take advantage of it? Because you can make a lot of mistakes in this game. I mean, you miss CS all the time. That's what everybody does. It's hard to get 100% CS. But if the enemy team does the same thing, guess what? It doesn't really matter. It's bad. You shouldn't do it, but it happens. What if the enemy team gets 100% CS? All of a sudden they have a big lead on you. They're up 30 CS and they didn't do anything. What if they see you blow a summoner on accident? What if they see you use a skill to last hit and you go too low on mana, or it has long cooldown and now you don't have that escape or that option? So people say this game is about making mistakes and whoever makes the most mistakes will lose. That is true, but it's also the most mistakes the enemy team notices. But anyhow, we're back to the dance. We're back to this little situation. And this is passive, but this is tense because you know what? Do you know who's going to win this? I don't. I did not know when I watched this game who would win it. This was close to the end. I did not know this was game 3 actually. I just kind of spectated randomly, and this game was awesome. I mean, it's a 4,000 gold difference. That's noticeable. And MLG, that's actually normally is a win. But there's been a lot of turnarounds in situations like this, and there isn't a good team fight from Ordiance. They have great picking off potential with Ashel, but look at that Quicksilver Sash on Corki. They're gaining the ability to team fight better, to deal with the Ash BS, with the TF BS. And that's actually something I'd love to see, a team against an Ash pick up Quicksilver Sashes, because all of a sudden, you can't die. All of a sudden, who cares if you get Ash ulted? Gonna press up 2. And we just have the group up coming. They actually get spotted by the Ash Hawk. No, actually, now there they get spotted by the Ash Hawk. And now it's kind of like a chase to clear out wards, to keep vision around Baron, so they can once again make one of those catches. So Link got that really good catch onto Spellsy right here. That was an awesome catch. I love that wall. That was a good wall. And we had the catch on a Psycho Sid. What's going to happen next? Who's going to be out of position now? Who's going to get 1 pixel too far and die? Or 100 pixels too far. Or like a million Teemo units because they're way out of position. This is a game in solo queue where that one guy wanders into Baron, dies, and you lose the game. But this time, when that one guy's headed towards there, there's an entire team yelling at them. So they spot Twisted Fate over here. They actually want to try and force a fight if possible. And I like this because, well, if Twisted Fate has to use his ult to get in, he can't do the shenanigans he did last time and use his ult to just, hop around and pick off all the weak guys. Because that was beautiful, actually. But the enemy team wants to prevent that as much as possible. Because it was beautiful. And an advantage purple team has here is it can always throw wards over this wall, and they'll continue to do so, and the dance will go on. And I almost don't, I was thinking about fast forwarding through this, and this is something actually, a question for you guys, whether you like it or not, because there's so much you can say about this. There's so much about this little situation, about this stupid dance that I absolutely love, but takes forever. And the reason for that is, it is one of the most important parts of the game, just not losing a Baron. It's something that if you do not know how to do, your team will lose. once you start playing better and better teams. This is something that CLG North America is beautiful at. They're amazing at picking the right fights. That is something they pride themselves on. So, I like this fight. It starts out with poke. The Ashel actually totally whiffs, but it started in a way that very reminiscent, and we have the follow-up from Kenikth. He gets the ultimate off, he gets the pressure on, and the chase is on for the enemy team. So they just immediately pick off 3 people, and this is kind of the dance. This is what happens in the dance a lot. You think you approach from a good angle, it's not. And, well, we're going to look at that fight again with vision from everybody in slow motion, because I can do it, and it's really cool to do that. Okay. So we have vision from everybody. Here's CLG Black. They're trying to go around, they're trying to maneuver. They want to catch the enemy team off guard, and what's a better spot than right here? Because who's going to expect initiation to happen from the side like this? This isn't common, it's a weird spot to come into. Zuna just gets blown up. He eats a bunch of skills right at the beginning of the fight. The Ashel does miss, but because of how the fight started, because of the power poke, Psycho Sid goes down low, Hood Stomp takes a lot of damage from Olaf, from TF cards, and that little closed off position was actually fantastic. And they clean up, they get a bunch of kills, and it was awesome. And once again, Kenikth using his ult defensively, using his ult to avoid a Nivea wall to get some action done. And I really, really like how Ordiance played. I might actually do something for MLG later, just my opinions on the power tiers, who was good, who was a little disappointing. I will say shoutouts to Orbit Gaming because they did super well getting top 8 and coming out of more or less nowhere. But the fight happened. Guess what comes after that? Baron comes after that. And this is the nail in the coffin in most games. Once a team gets Baron, there is a process you do, and that process is called win the game. You take out the outer towers first. If you're way ahead, you can just push down mid and win, but screw that. You're playing safe. You take down these turrets first, you can take damage, whatever, poke back. Just poke back non-stop. It's actually a bigger deal because we do have a Soraka on Ordnance, so Spellsy can just, Astral Blessing, Astral Blessing, Astral Blessing, keep you topped off because Soraka is once again a pain, but super safe and super good for these sustained pushes. Actually, do we have cooldown boots on? Yes, we do have cooldown boots on Spellsy. Something cool about Soraka builds is you have to do something really important with them, which is get that 40% cooldown reduction, because my god, you heal like crazy. 12 second cooldown on that heal is actually massive. But we're focusing back on this guy. So back to Mr. Hat. He is scary right now. He has Death Cap, Lichbane, Void Staff, and Deathfire Grasp. So DFG fits into his playstyle. It's really long range. It provides a lot of CDR, so that 6 second stun is now a 3.6 second cooldown stun. Factoring picking a card, you might have a more or less 5 second cooldown on a 2 second stun, which is pretty damn good. The Deathfire Grasp also helps supplement the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of nukes. He only has standard nukes, and the other is stacked deck, and stacked deck is kind of weird because you don't normally focus on it. It actually has an okay AP ratio, it's just not something people really take part of. And the push is going to happen. What Ordnance should do is just take down the outer turrets, but they're feeling confident. I think they think they can go mid, and what they do actually take advantage of is Twisted Fate's ultimate. They're just going to go ahead, push down mid lane, take down this turret. If the other team tries to initiate this guy right here, and just go all the way over here instantly. And this is just kind of where you win the game. They do take down bot tower. Zuna takes a lot of damage in return. A lot of poke, actually, on Ordnance too, which I like. But they're just trying to pressure, trying to get this thing down. Here comes Kenikth, looking good, looking sexy. The game is almost over. Everybody can kind of tell it. We have Link using his wallet just to stop the enemy team from getting pokes in. There is no vision, there is no map control for CLG Black. They have 2 wards out, and they're not doing anything. And Hood Stomp goes... Is that just a poke? I actually missed this when I was watching. Let's watch Hood Stomp. Because something funny's about to happen to him. So, there's Kenikth trying to poke him like crazy. Gets too close to the wall, boom, boom. Taken down to half HP. And now Hood Stomp's at half HP. We're going to have a good push come out on this turret, because they know Hood Stomp can't actually defend. And if he does defend, this hat guy is just going to teleport onto him. So the initiation happens. Where is Kenikth? There he is. He just kills Hood Stomp, and they just clean up at that point. They were too far ahead to really engage. And this is just kind of like the more mechanical part. This is the part where I know what's going to happen. It's really hard to stop a Baron push. And actually, that might be something Riot looks into. Because I think one of the reasons these games snowball so hard is because Barons are really good. It's the HP regeneration, I'd say. Just cut that back down maybe a little bit. Make it out of combat only, actually. No. That wouldn't stop anything. Never mind. I'm not a designer. Riot, you can do your thing. But the push happens. Good game. CLG Black. Kenikth is kind of a dick in chat. I don't actually know the history between these guys. Maybe this isn't actually as dickish as I think it is. But they look kind of like jerks. Anyhow, this was a long episode. But whatever. I'm getting used to these. I like these a lot. And let me go back to scene 2, where you can look at me. What do you think of this? What do you think of this face? It needs to be shaven. That's what it needs to do. Not this part. This part stays. This part, gone. Getting rid of it. But, anyhow, this was Kenikth on AP Twisted Fate. I'm still kind of getting into the swing of things. These are still experimental videos. I'm going to start doing a lot of the Kickstarter stuff and a lot of the more focused stuff soon. But I'm messing with settings. I'm seeing how this works. I really like doing this, by the way. I love doing this. So, yeah, just give me more feedback. Tell me if you like these style of videos, because these are much longer, much less specific and focused. I'm not quite stuck on the same timetable I was before in terms of times to produce this, and also the fact that doing any sort of video editing when you have to stick with the old League of Legends replays is a pain. It is so frustrating, and I'm so glad that Spectator Mode came out, and that more importantly, the League replay guys could actually go ahead and use it. So shout out to the League replay guys. The studio saying adios, I love you. A few things that will actually be happening soon. So Kickstarter stuff, if you got something from that Kickstarter, I will be contacting you very quickly. This will actually probably go out with an update on the Kickstarter webpage. Aside from that, we also have a few changes. The leagueofstudio.com website has been updated. It's really cool, actually. I really love it. Shoutouts to my web design guy. I forget whether he wants to stay mysterious or not, but he does an awesome job. Let's see. I will be doing the FO Fridays one more time. If you do not know what that acronym stands for, I will not be saying it because it is not suitable for children. So that is going to be coming back soon. I just need to think of some concepts. The idea with FO Friday, it's kind of like Fun Day Monday from day 9, where we do something a little offbeat, a little weird, a little crazy, but it still makes sense. There's still a reason for it. The last time I did it, it was every 5 minutes, go ahead, take an objective as a team. I will probably be doing something more along the lines of actually just changing up your lanes, like maybe doing 2-1-1 instead of 1-1-2 we currently do. 1-1-2. Now we got 2-1-1. So I'll be doing that a bit more, but the idea is still there. 2-1 can work. There's a reason to use it. I will actually have a video from For Not Secant, hopefully either tomorrow or next week. And we can look at that and some cool stuff. So, anyhow, thanks to CLG Black and Ordiance Gaming for that awesome game. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon.